Aloha, I'm Judge Margaret Masunaga, and this is Judge Wendy DeWeese.
Aloha.
And we're here to present a book on Turning Pages, My Life Story, about U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And we want to thank the National Judicial College and President Benes Aldana for providing these books for us that were autographed by Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And this is about teaching children about civics education and rights and responsibilities. And these diverse books have themes of justice, fairness, and the law.
All right, take it away, Judge Masunaga.
Okay, and we're so glad that you're here to listen to this book called Turning Pages. And because of the coronavirus, we usually wear our mask, but we're not wearing them so that you can hear me clearly. So the book is called Turning Pages, My Life Story, about Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And in the book, in the front cover, she has pictures of her with her papa, Juan, and her mother, Selena, and her brother, Juan. These are pictures from her childhood that are in the inside cover of the book. And this is her autograph. So one of the lucky students who does a really good report will get an autographed book, whether it be this one or one of these books. This was provided by the National Judicial College and Benes Aldana, the president. So here's the first page of the book. My story is about books, of poems and comics, of law and mystery, of science and science fiction, written both in Spanish and English. Even though I was born and grew up in New York City, Espanol, Spanish, was the language we spoke at home, the language of Puerto Rico, the island where my family came from. I struggled to learn English. Balancing two languages in my head wasn't always easy, but books made learning fun. Reading was like lighting candles, each book a flame that lit up the world around me. What was so special about books? Do written words have unique magic? Each step in my life, I would put together the answer like pieces to a puzzle. See this? My first memory of the power of words came from Abuelita, my beloved grandmother. Every Saturday, my aunts and uncles and cousins would gather for a party at her home. After we ate dinner, the crowded little room would get quiet. Abuelita would close her eyes and recite poems written long ago about the tropical land our family had left behind. The words she spoke sent a charge through the room and sparked memories of her faraway island home. I didn't know how to read yet, but written words, I discovered, were electrical currents that jolted the feelings to life. When I was 7, I got sick and I was diagnosed with diabetes. I was so afraid of the big needles used to take my blood for testing at the hospital that I ran outside and hid under a parked car. I also learned that I would have to get shots every day to stay alive. All those needles were scary. I found courage in an unlikely place, comic books. After reading stories of regular people who had secret superpowers that could save the world, I imagined being as brave and powerful as they were. Then I learned how to give myself the shots. And in time, I got used to it. Books, it seemed, were magic potions that could fuel me with the bravery of superheroes. I may have been inspired by Supergirl, but I still needed to use an airplane if I wanted to fly. When we took trips from the cold concrete streets of the Bronx to sunny Puerto Rico, I ate fresh mangoes that they had just fallen off the trees, and I sipped juice straight from the coconut and marveled at the shimmer of tiny glowing creatures in the bay at night. But my favorite time was siesta at my aunt's home in Mayaez. At lunchtime, we feasted on rice and beans and chicken spiced with sofrito, a delicious mix of tomatoes, onions, garlic, and peppers. Then, belly stuffed full, all my aunts and uncles and cousins would settle down for a nap in the peaceful quiet of a hot afternoon. Their nap time was my reading time. I had my trusty books to keep me company. Books were my loyal friends. They made it so I never felt lonely. When I was 9 years old, my father, Papi, who had been sick for a long time, passed away. I felt sad and confused, and my home was filled with gloom. But I discovered a place where I could feel comfort. All summer, at the nearby Parkchester Library, I walked through the aisles and touched the musty volumes until one book after another caught my eye. I read as many books as I could. I wanted to read them all. I was lucky to have a library that was in my neighborhood, walking distance from my home. For hours, I could sail away to the wondrous lands and the stories that I would choose from the stacks of books. The library was my harbor, and books were little boats that helped me escape sadness at home. Leaving home, though, was the farthest thought from my mind the day a delivery man rang our apartment doorbell, hauling 2 huge, heavy boxes. "What's inside?" my brother Juan and I asked, and Mommy, my mother, told us to look. Tearing open the packing tape, we discovered an entire encyclopedia. There were 24 massive books, each unveiling secrets about the world, from the tiniest atoms to the tallest mountains, from the hottest desert to the frozen tundra. Mommy had created a library in our very own home. Every time I opened a volume, I learned new words and ideas. There were miracles of life taking place in our bodies and outside in the world around us, and I started to think more about my place in it. I felt like a deep-sea diver exploring mysterious depths. Books were my snorkel and flippers, helping me get there. Back on land, Nancy Drew, the young girl detective hero in dozens of books, fired my imagination. Her make-believe life was so different from mine. She lived in a big house on a tree-lined street and partnered with her dad, a successful lawyer, to solve crimes. Despite our differences, I would doze off, picturing myself in Nancy's shoes. Could I figure out mysteries too? Books were a time machine, inspiring me to imagine what I would be when I grew up. Now we'll have Judge DeWeese continue the story.
All right. Thank you, Judge Masunaga. When we moved to a bigger apartment in the Bronx, our new home wasn't anything like Nancy Drew's, but Juan and I did finally get our own small rooms. It was really just one larger bedroom divided by a thin wall, but we each got to decorate our rooms. I chose wallpaper with pictures of the constellations in the sky. I loved reading science fiction books about journeys into deep space, time travel, and encounters with aliens. Even more amazing, real-life astronauts had just landed on the moon. They left behind a gift of words, messages of peace from the countries back on Earth. I read everything I could about the moon landing. If that was possible, then anything I could imagine was possible too. Books were my launch pad. blasting me straight into my dreams. As I got older and read more, my future slowly started to take shape, like a ball of clay that you carefully sculpt into a figure with your fingers. In high school, my teacher assigned my class a book about boys on a deserted island who went wild because there were no rules. And you can see Justice Sodomayor reading her copy of Lord of the Flies in this picture. The boys hurt each other in the chaos of a land without laws. This book opened my eyes. I saw why we need laws and rules to feel safe, so that people have the freedom to grow and flourish. I did not yet know that I would end up working in law, as a lawyer and later as a judge, but I was learning why laws mattered. Books were lenses bringing into focus truths about the world around me. The Bible, a special book we studied at my Catholic high school, taught me lessons about how to treat my neighbors. In one story, Jesus was approached by a crowd ready to punish a woman who had done wrong. Instead, Jesus challenged them, saying, "He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her." His calm, powerful words made people think. Slowly and silently, the people let her be and went home. I learned that we shouldn't be so quick to judge people who do the wrong things. Sometimes we make mistakes that can hurt someone else, but that doesn't make us bad people. It might just mean we have to say we're sorry, put things right, and try harder. Books were teachers helping me sort out right from wrong. When I started college at Princeton University, the tree-lined paths and old stone buildings looked very different from my neighborhood in the Bronx. I was excited to be there, but I was homesick, and sometimes I felt like I was drowning in everything I didn't know. And here you can see a picture of Princeton. Quickly, I discovered the massive Firestone Library, where I could find books on everything. It was so much bigger than my neighborhood library. I would study for hours to catch up. I even improved my writing using grammar books. Books became my life preserver, keeping my head above water. All that reading taught me about the farthest reaches of the planet, and even about the little island closest to my heart, Puerto Rico. And here's a beautiful picture showing the colorful island of Puerto Rico. I read about men and women who worked hard but were paid very little. I read about how Puerto Rico became part of the United States of America. Just like in the books, my grandfather worked in a cigar factory and got sick from the dust, and my aunt spent long days stitching handkerchiefs. Like many of the Puerto Ricans who came to New York, Mammy had a hard life. She studied for many years to become a nurse and was able to scrimp and save so that her kids, Juan and I, would have a brighter future. Reading had long taught me about the world outside, but now I was seeing in books a reflection of the lives led by my own family. Books were mirrors of my very own universe. When I became a lawyer, I used cases in law books to convince judges that people on trial were innocent or guilty, how they had done right and where they had gone wrong. Just as my own family story was mirrored in history books about Puerto Rico, I saw that law books reflected real-life stories of people who got into trouble but still needed to be treated fairly in court. Law books were maps to guide us to justice. Justice means treating people fairly under the law. It is also the name of what I am now, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. As a justice, I study the most important words in American law, the founding document of our government, the Constitution of the United States, and decide which laws agree with it. Every day I borrow from the lessons of law books of the past and write decisions and opinions that will be bound into law books of the future. Books are keys that unlock the wisdom of yesterday and open the door to tomorrow. And here you see Justice Sodomayor going to work at the Supreme Court. Flame, electricity, magic potion, friend, boat, snorkel, time machine, launch pad, lens, teacher, life preserver, mirror, map, key. The written word has been all these things to me, and more for as long as I can remember. Like flagstones on a path, every book I ever read took me the next step I needed to go in school and in life, even if I didn't know exactly where the trail would lead. Piece by piece, my puzzle came together. Where will your journey lead you? And that concludes the book. Turning pages.
Thank you, Judge DeWeese. And on the back cover of the book, you could see other pictures that Justice Sonia Sotomayor has in her life. And it kind of shows you, her life experiences and how she got from the Bronx to the U.S. Supreme Court as an Associate Justice. I'm really proud of what she has accomplished, and this was in my chambers in this courthouse, and it's a picture of me with Justice Sonia Sotomayor and my friend Juanita Hernandez, taken in 2012. We were honored to be at the U.S. Supreme Court, and she hosted a reception, and we gave her Kona coffee. She loves Kona coffee. We plan to invite her to Kona one day when this coronavirus is eliminated and we could all get back to school and back to work. And for now, though, we're all at home. You need to stay home and be safe, but enjoy this book. And if you have any questions, feel free to call the courthouse. And we thank you, and thank you, Judge DeWeese. This has been a real honor and pleasure. And also we thank the National Judicial College for providing these books that have been signed personally by Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this book is called Just Ask. It's a book by our Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And like I said, the title is Just Ask, Be Different, Be Brave, Be You. So here we see and we meet Sonia. Hi, I'm Sonia. My friends and I are planting a garden. Gardens are magical places. Thousands of plants bloom together, but every flower, every berry, and every leaf is different. Each has a different smell, different color, different shape, and different purpose. Some flowers need lots of sunlight. Others thrive in the shade. Some have to be trimmed regularly, while others are better off left alone. Some trees and flowers are more fragile, and others are more hardy. Kids are different too. Some of us are in a hurry, and others take more time. Some of us are shy and quiet, while others are chatty and loud. Some of our differences are easy to spot. Others take longer to notice. Each of us grows in our own way. So, if you are curious about other kids, just ask. Not everyone is comfortable answering questions about themselves, but I don't mind. What am I doing? Several times a day, I prick my finger to measure the sugar in my blood, and I give myself shots of medicine called insulin. I do this because I have diabetes, and my body doesn't make insulin naturally like other people's. Even though this can sometimes hurt, I gather all of my courage and I do it to be healthy. Do you ever need to take a medicine to be healthy? And here she is, sticking herself with the needle. Next, we'll meet Raphael. My name is Raphael, and I have asthma, which means I sometimes have trouble breathing. When that happens, I take a break and use an inhaler with medicine to make breathing easier. Quiet time helps me slow down and catch my breath. My inhaler is like a tool to help my body. Do you use a tool to help your body? And now we'll meet Anthony. I'm Anthony, and I use a wheelchair to get around. Even though I can't run with my legs, I can go super fast. How do you get from place to place? The next one is about Madison. My name is Madison, and my guide dog Lucky helps me get places safely because I'm blind. My friend Arturo is blind too. He uses a cane to get around. Even though we can't see, we strengthen our other senses and notice lots of details others miss. We can hear with our ears, smell with our noses, and feel with our hands. How do you use your senses? Well, VJ says, "Hi, I'm VJ. I learn about the world differently because I can see, but I can't hear. I'm deaf. Most of the time, I communicate with people using my face and hands through sign language. It's cool to know another language. I also love reading and writing. What about you guys?" I'm Bianca. Here's Bianca with her red hair, doodling. I have dyslexia, so I have to work really hard and take my time when I'm reading and writing words. Sometimes I use a computer program to help me. I love learning by doing things. My imagination is full of ideas, and I'm very good at making art from the pictures I see in my mind. Are you really good at something?
Thank you, Judge DeWeese. And I'm going to continue the story. It's a beautiful rainbow. I'm great at dinosaurs. I know all about them. I'm Jordan, and I have autism. Organizing and counting all my toy dinosaurs again and again makes me feel calm. My classmate, Tiana, also has autism, but it's different for her. She doesn't talk, but I like to talk. I especially like to talk about dinosaurs. What do you like to talk about? For me, listening comes more easily than talking, and I'm a really good listener. My name is An, and I speak with a stutter, so I sometimes repeat a word or get stuck when I try to say it. It may take me a little longer to express myself, and sometimes I'm too shy to talk, but I understand everything that's going on. Do you ever wonder if people understand you? I do. My name is Julia. Sometimes I wiggle or make sounds that I can't control because I have Tourette's syndrome. People may look at me funny because they think I'm not paying attention or just acting out. But it's not true. I am listening. I don't always have to explain. It frustrates me, but it helps when I tell people that it's just what my body does. Do you ever feel frustrated? I do. My name is Manuel, and I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It is also called ADHD. I can get frustrated when I really feel the need to move around even though I'm supposed to sit still. When my teacher and friends are patient with me, if I forget something or get distracted, I can get myself back on track. What's helpful to you? I'm Nolan. It's helpful to me when the food I eat has a clear label that says it is nut-free because I am allergic to nuts. They can make me so sick I would have to go to the hospital if I ate any, even by accident. So I always tell people about my allergy and ask if any food has nut ingredients. Speaking up keeps me healthy. How do you use your voice? I love to sing and I love to talk. I love to make new friends and be included. I am Grace. I was born with Down syndrome. Kids like me with Down syndrome have an extra building block called a chromosome in our bodies, but we are all different from each other too. I can do almost anything any other kid can do, but learning new things can take some time. One way to learn is to ask questions. What helps you learn? It's me, Sonia again. I ask questions too. When something seems different or new, I just ask my parents or my teachers, and they help me to understand, especially if my friends don't feel ready to explain. This is what I've learned. Imagine if all the plants in this garden were exactly the same. Like, what if we could only grow peas? That would mean no strawberries or cucumbers or carrots. It may also mean no trees or roses or sunflowers. Just like in our garden, all the ways we are different make our neighborhood, our whole world really, really more interesting and fun. And just like all of these plants, each of us has unique powers to share with the world and make it more interesting and richer. What do you do with your powers? That's it. Thank you. The end.
Thank you, Judge Masunaga. Hope you guys enjoyed the stories.
Thank you, Judge Wendy DeWeese.
Bye.
And we enjoy reading to you and enjoy your time learning and reading remotely. And remember, be safe. Stay 6 feet away from each other during the coronavirus. Make sure you wash your hands for 20 seconds. And what other tip do you have, Judge DeWeese?
Wear a mask when you go out in public.
And be safe. Truly be safe. And we'll get through this coronavirus together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mahalo.